From console to PC. It has now been 6 months since I went from console gaming to PC gaming. I honestly went from being a frustrated, not that good, pretty terrible controller user to basically a smooth, godlike gamer with mouse and keyboard.
Beautiful.
That's not quite accurate, but in all seriousness, I honestly don't know what actually took me so damn long to make that change. No, wait, I do know cost. It was cost. Cost is exactly why I was only a console player. Not that there's anything wrong with playing on a console, but it was cost and knowledge, or lack thereof. I mean, I just didn't understand anything about GPUs and CPUs. Or motherboards, or PC gaming in general. But one thing you can be sure of, I'm glad I went and researched as much info as I possibly could, because now I've been able to arm myself with some pretty good knowledge. And in all fairness, it's actually quite easy to go and learn about PCs because information is at the tip of your fingers. It's everywhere online. It makes things so much easier. I definitely recommend everyone and anyone to go and do the same. You'll quickly learn as to why PC gaming is so many levels ahead of console gaming. I guess for me, there were 3 main points that just made all the difference. Point number 1 is most definitely the controller versus mouse and keyboard argument. For me, this made a huge difference. You see, I never knew how terrible I actually was with a controller until I picked up a mouse and keyboard. I mean, it's like night and day. The difference is huge. Okay, I might be exaggerating when I say I was terrible with a controller, but in terms of accuracy, I mean, it's no contest. It's not even close. Mouse and keyboard is so much smoother than any controller I've ever played with. It's 1,000 times more accurate. You've got a huge amount more of control over the mouse and keyboard than you do with a controller. You're not trying to push a mini joystick with your thumb. Okay, you're actually using your entire hand on the mouse to move and aim smoothly, whilst your other hand is on the keyboard, moving, jumping, sprinting, sliding. It's all beautifully synchronized.
It's really beyond words. It's really incalculable.
I have tried a couple of times to go back on the PlayStation so I could play with some friends, but in all honesty, I'm literally at the point where it's a huge burden almost for me to actually play a shooting game with a controller.
Oh my god, come on.
Right, shield.
I can't bring myself to do it anymore.
I just can't do it, Captain. I don't have the power.
Plus, loading times on the console. Oh my god, what a joke. This actually brings me to point number 2. Processing speeds or loading times or whatever it is. I mean, okay, so when you game on a console, you're just oblivious. Or in other words, if something doesn't look broken to you, why would you fix it, right? Exactly. In reality, loading times, they don't really make that much of a difference until you have to take steps back when it comes to the technology you're using. See, now that I've seen how much quicker things work and respond on a PC, why in the world would I go back to a console?
You're crazy, man.
Okay, point number 3, the graphics, and everything that goes with that. And I am referring mostly to frames per second. Again, totally oblivious. When you're playing at 30 frames per second and that's what you've been used to, you don't even query it. You get on with it and you play the game, even though it takes an eternity to load. Anyway, playing at a minimum of 60 frames per second has now become the normal for me. Every time I went back to the PlayStation, games just look jerky and shaky. It just doesn't look right. The coloring also feels a lot more lifeless as well. PC graphics are so much more beautiful. It's so much smoother. And I'm on a mid-range PC build. I'll tell you what I have. I have a AMD Ryzen 7 2700X CPU, as well as a GeForce 1660 Super graphics card, and 32 gigabytes of RAM, which is probably overkill, but regardless, I've not had a single issue with any game with my PC, and I couldn't be happier. At the end of the day, it's all about personal preference. But once you see what a PC can do compared to a console, I mean, it's pretty tough to go back. And I'm not even going into everything else that a PC can do that a console can't. Obviously, we'll have to wait and see how the new console generation does. Because I well and truly hope that both the PS5 and the Xbox come out as actual good alternatives to playing on the PC. I still would not play with a controller. Nope, no sir, not anymore.
No, 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 hell no, 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 I refuse, no.
Not once I've been so used to playing with mouse and keyboard. And before you comment, yes, it is cheaper to play on a console, but there is a reason why it is cheaper. In all fairness, nowadays, you can actually get a really decent gaming PC for not a lot more than what a console costs, especially if you compare it to the new generation of consoles. I'm willing to bet a lot of players will make the switch from the consoles to the gaming PC because of cost, especially when you also have to take into consideration that on the console you have to pay for a yearly subscription to play online, which is ridiculous. There's no question there are a huge amount of benefits to playing on the PC when you compare it to a console, especially these days. I would just say consider it, go and do some research, go look at some information online, just Google something like best value GPUs, and trust me, from there you will go down the rabbit hole. And there's no going back once you do. Let me know how you get on. Let me know what you prefer. Do you prefer controller over mouse and keyboard? Tell me why, probably. But let me know. Or maybe will you acquire one of the new consoles? Or will you just go for a PC? Let me know. And, well, thank you for watching. Goodbye for now.